Imagine this. Every single day, without realizing it, millions of people put foods on their plates that don't just fail to protect them, they actually fuel the growth of dangerous cancer cells. Shocking, right? It's not just about what you're missing in your diet. Sometimes it's the very things you're eating that give cancer cells an unfair advantage. Today, I want to show you the 5 worst foods that silently feed cancer and what you can do instead. Now let me ask you something. If you could remove even just one food from your daily routine to lower your risk, which food do you think would be the hardest for you to give up? Comment below and let's see who shares the same struggle. When I first started researching the connection between nutrition and cancer, I realized how many common foods in supermarkets can act like fertilizer for unhealthy cells. I don't want you to live in fear, but I do want you to live with awareness. And when you understand the why, the choices you make at the grocery store start to feel empowering instead of restrictive. Part 1 begins with the biggest culprit, refined sugar. Cancer cells thrive on glucose. They're hungry for it. When you constantly feed your body sodas, candies, and pastries made with refined sugar, you're essentially giving cancer cells their favorite meal. Of course, your body needs natural sugars, but the type that comes from fruit is packaged with fiber and antioxidants, something cancer doesn't like at all. I've met patients who thought switching to diet soda was the answer. But here's the reality. Artificial sweeteners don't solve the problem, and in many cases, they can confuse your metabolism, making you crave even more sweet foods. The truth is, the best way to weaken cancer's grip is to lower the steady stream of refined sugar and focus on whole, nutrient-dense sources of energy. Have you ever noticed how your body feels after a sugary binge compared to a meal of whole foods? That crash isn't just in your energy, it's in your cells too. The second food I have to call out is processed meats, things like hot dogs, bacon, and certain deli cuts. The World Health Organization has even classified processed meats as carcinogenic, meaning there's strong evidence they're linked to cancer risk. These meats are often full of nitrates, preservatives, and chemicals that can damage healthy cells over time. I know it's tough, especially if these foods are tied to comfort and memories, but reducing them is one of the most powerful steps you can take. Now, I'm not here to shame anyone for enjoying bacon on a Sunday morning. I've had those moments too, but I want you to picture this. Every slice of processed meat adds to a silent tally in your body. By choosing lean, fresh proteins like fish, beans, or organic poultry instead, you shift that tally in your favor. Doesn't it feel better knowing you can still enjoy delicious meals without feeding the very thing you're trying to avoid? The third food is refined grains, white bread, white rice, and most boxed cereals. Here's why. Once you strip away the fiber, you're left with a food that digests quickly and spikes your blood sugar almost as fast as candy. Remember what we said about sugar being cancer's fuel? Refined grains are just another door through which that fuel enters. I often remind people that swapping in whole grains isn't just about fiber. It's about keeping your blood sugar steady and your body resilient. Brown rice, oats, quinoa, and barley all provide not only energy, but also antioxidants and plant compounds that make it harder for cancer cells to take hold. Think of it as switching from a leaky bucket to a strong container that holds your health together. The fourth offender is fried and deep-fried foods. Think of French fries, fried chicken, and even those crispy chips we all reach for during stressful nights. The problem here isn't just the oil, it's the process of frying at high heat that creates harmful compounds like acrylamides, which can damage DNA. Cancer cells thrive in an environment of damage and inflammation, and fried foods provide both. Here's the encouraging part. You don't have to give up crunch or comfort. Air frying, roasting, or grilling with heart-healthy oils like olive oil can give you flavor without the hidden harm. Personally, I once swapped my evening habit of fried chips with roasted chickpeas, and the difference in energy and digestion was remarkable. Have you ever found a healthier swap that surprised you with how satisfying it was? The fifth and final category is alcohol. Now, I know this one is tough for many people because drinking is tied to social life, celebrations, and relaxation, but alcohol has been linked to cancers of the liver, breast, colon, and more. Because when your body breaks it down, it produces a toxic compound called acetaldehyde. This substance damages DNA and makes it harder for your body to repair itself. Does this mean you can never enjoy a glass of wine at dinner again? Not necessarily, but being mindful about how often and how much you drink is key. Every reduction counts, and even swapping in sparkling water with lime or a refreshing mocktail can give you the ritual without the risk. The control is in your hands, and it starts with awareness. Now let's step back for a moment. We've talked about refined sugar, processed meats, refined grains, fried foods, and alcohol. 5 of the most common and tempting foods on almost every menu, but also 5 that can quietly feed cancer cells. The question isn't just what do I avoid, but what do I choose instead? Because when you replace harmful foods with healing ones, you're not living in restriction, you're living in protection. Part 2 is about empowerment. I want you to remember that your body has incredible defense systems built in. Every time you make a small change, choosing water over soda, brown rice over white, roasted veggies over fries, you're strengthening those defenses. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. I often tell my patients that health isn't won in one giant decision. It's created in hundreds of small daily choices. The beauty is, those choices add up faster than you think. And here's something personal. When I changed my own breakfast routine from processed cereals to overnight oats, not only did my energy last longer, but my mood stabilized throughout the day. That's the power of food. It influences more than your body. It shapes your entire experience of life. But I also want to acknowledge something important. Making changes in diet can feel overwhelming, especially if certain foods bring you comfort or memories. Food is emotional, and I never want you to feel guilty about that. What I do want is for you to approach each change with self-compassion. Even if you just reduce, rather than completely eliminate, you're still moving in the right direction. So here's a question for you. What's one healthier swap you've already made that you're proud of? Share it in the comments. I guarantee someone else will be inspired by your story. We are stronger when we share our wins, no matter how small they may seem. Part 3 is about moving forward with hope. The truth is, cancer can feel like a scary, overwhelming subject, but focusing on the foods you can control gives you back a sense of power. You can't control everything in life, but you can choose what you eat today, and that decision ripples into tomorrow. Isn't it encouraging to know that every meal is a fresh start? I want you to visualize your body like a garden. The foods you choose are either weeds that overgrow or nutrients that help your flowers bloom. Sugar, fried foods, and processed meats act like weeds, but when you nourish your body with whole grains, fresh vegetables, and lean proteins, you give your garden the chance to thrive. And please don't underestimate the small victories. Every glass of water, every piece of fruit, every step away from the foods that feed cancer cells. That's you investing in your health. You deserve a long, vibrant life, and these simple shifts are your way of claiming it. So, as we wrap this up, let's review. The 5 worst foods that feed cancer cells are refined sugar, processed meats, refined grains, fried foods, and alcohol. Now you know what they are, why they're harmful, and what you can do instead. This knowledge is your shield, and your choices are your sword. I'd love for you to comment below. Which of these 5 foods are you ready to cut back on starting today? Your answer might encourage someone else to take that first step too. If this message resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone you care about. Because when we spread awareness, we save lives. And if you're new here, subscribe for more empowering health insights. Together, let's build a community where knowledge turns into action, and action turns into lasting health. Remember, you are not powerless. Every day, every choice, every meal is an opportunity to fight back and protect your body. I believe in you, and I know you can do this.